Can everybody hear? Moy, can you hear? Wave if you can hear. In our audience,
Exactly.
Lucy and Mary, Marimo, can you hear?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Let's get started. Here at the US other university, other than technical. Very good. We want to give a welcome to our team from Moy University that are here. Special welcome. Special guest joining us from Silicon Valley. I'll introduce. We have Marimo, who has a company consulting, and she may be a little bit about that. It's a software development company. We have Lucy, who is the founder of a company called Cross Frontier International, which is a biotechnology company that works on virus issues. We'll tell about that. And then we have Marian Moon Atieno, who is the founder and CEO of Wanda Organic, which is also an agribusiness company providing organic fertilizer and soil amendments to small-scale farms. Let me just tell a little bit about why we're doing this. So who remembers the Global Entrepreneurship Summit last year? Did anybody know where it was held? Anybody? Right here in Nairobi, right? Right? So this was a big deal. My boss, President Obama, came to visit, and President Kenyatta was there, and it was a very, very important engagement on entrepreneurship and starting businesses and innovation and all those kinds of important things. This is something that the U.S. government feels very strongly about and we support around the world. We have lots of programs to support the development of entrepreneurship ecosystems in countries all over the place, because it is a wonderful way to create jobs, to create prosperity, and for people to fulfill their potential. So this year, the Global Entrepreneurship Summit is being hosted at Stanford University in California. There are 11 Kenyan startups who have been able to travel to California to attend, and we have 3 of our founders from Kenya here with us today. So what we're going to do today is we're going to have an interaction with our 3 founders in California. We'd like them to maybe tell a little bit about their experience at the GES, tell a little bit about their business ventures, and then I think probably we should have sort of a discussion. And if you all have questions about starting a business, about the business environment here in Kenya, we can go from there. And I guess I'll try to moderate that discussion as it goes along. But I think we will go ahead and give the microphone to our 3 founders in California. Maybe each of you could just tell a little bit about who you are, what your venture is, and then give us some thoughts about how the experience has been at the GES at Stanford. Okay? All right.
Hi, my name is Wairimo. I don't know if the video is very good. I'm a software engineer. My business is within software engineering. I have set up an IT consultancy. So in layman's terms, we have software developers, and those are coders and software testers sitting within the company. And what we do, we go to organizations like banks, like KCB Bank or CFC Stanbic, and when they're running their projects, we give them resources to do the software development for them, and also to do the software testing for them. So that's what my business does. So we provide IT services. My experience at the GES has, I think, if I could sum it up, I would say it's big. been mind blowing because we get to meet another 900 so investors from around the world and hear about different investment ideas, and especially from regions like Asia and South America, economies that have the same struggles that we do have in Kenya. It's helped expand my understanding of those regions, but also it has helped us open up our minds to some solutions that we can put in those markets and implement in our own market. Thank you. Handing over to Lucy.
Hi. Wave at me, guys.
I think there's delayed video.
Can you hear me? No. No?
Yes, again.
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
There's delayed reaction. Okay, I'm the CEO of Cross Frontier International Limited. I'm an agribusiness. I look into providing services for primary tissue culture distributors and also providing farmers with certified disease-free plants. Started off with bananas, and I moved on to cassava, sweet potato, passion fruit, purples, and others. This GES experience has been wonderful. We have interacted with like agripreneurs like us, and I'm happy that it's good to see that people have the same kind of challenges that we have, although in a different context. We've met a lot of investors, potential investors. We've also made a lot of contacts for possible value additions. We've met mentors, people who will work with us. And all in all, I thank the US government for the opportunity to just come and, interact here. Thank you. Marian.
Yes, it's right now.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Marian. I'm the founder and managing director of Wonder Organic. We're using a biotechnology to produce, market, and distribute a bioorganic fertilizer to farmers. This enables them to improve the fertility of their soil and therefore their productivity and profitability. GES has been fantastic. It's actually been quite overwhelming for me. I attended the last one in Nairobi, and that was really, really amazing in terms of the networks you build and the lessons learned. This has been great. We attended with Lucy a session about human-centered design and thinking around how we develop our solutions and products with our consumer at the center of all our decisions and processes. We've interacted with entrepreneurs from all corners of the world, doing all sorts of things. I had the privilege of speaking on a panel discussion, which was really brilliant and sort of putting the spotlight on. It was a nice experience to have investors wanting to see me and talk to me rather than me going to look for them. So it's been overwhelming, and we're very excited about tomorrow, where President Obama will be having a session. So we look forward to learning more and networking more tomorrow.
Is there anything you'd like us to tell?
I guess we're on mute. Thank you very much. That was very enlightening. A good overview of what you've been doing. Maybe we can open it up for some questions to our three panelists. The questions can be about anything from GES to their businesses, to how they got their start, to their educational background. And I guess what I would like, maybe I'll start off with a question to our group, to our three. I know there have been lots of sessions, lots of different activities that you've done at the GES, and I was able to take a look at the program. Can you, maybe each of you tell about one particular session that was very impactful to you and why it was so important and why you enjoyed it so much?
I could share a little bit about a session we went for about how to pitch to the media, which is a stakeholder that I had never thought too much about. But as Wanda is building traction in the market, we want to get a lot of publicity around our work. What I liked about this session is that it was facilitated by journalists themselves. So there was a senior journalist from Al Jazeera and one from Bloomberg. And it was a very sort of informal and interactive session where they were sort of telling us the importance of understanding them and customizing our requests and our proposals to them. And so it's very important that we do our homework and treat them like we would any other stakeholder or any other investor that we want support from.
Okay. I am a software engineer, so for me, coming to Silicon Valley is a little bit, it's a bit of a pilgrimage for me. So I think what was really big for me, what has been big for me so far was this morning's opening session where we had founders of LinkedIn give a speech, the founder for Uber as well as the founder for Airbnb. Now, what was what really resonated with me, it's perhaps mainly was a story from Airbnb, because I have read about them before, but hearing the story from the founder was quite good for me, because he was very open about the challenges that he faced as an entrepreneur when he was starting out. In fact, I would say the first 3 or 4 years, they were just, they started out on a journey, and they didn't really know what they thought was going to be the ultimate strategy changed along the way, and changing the strategy along the way cost them a lot in terms of money and in terms of time, and it got to a point where things were very tight and they didn't think that it was going to work out, but they finally made it through. So I liked the story about the struggle, but even more important, it was quite nice and humbling for me to see these people who've been where we currently are and who've made it to the other side. So that's what I liked most about this morning session.
I liked a panel of potential investors, the CEOs who gave us a talk. I love the fact that I could talk to them one-on-one without making appointments and not being able to see them. And I love the fact that they were so approachable. You could talk to them at the end of the day, and they seemed to be approachable, like, when you get back home, just talk to us, remind us that we met here. They give us all the details as to what they expect and reasons why sometimes they don't see us when we're back home. I think that was great. They're human after all.
That's great. Thank you very, very much for those vignettes of the sessions that you've been able to attend. So we're going to try to get our audience to participate here and get some questions from our audience here at Embassy Nairobi, but also at Moi University. We'd like to open it up for questions or comments. Who's going to be the brave first person? How many of you, just for everybody's benefit, here in Embassy Nairobi, how many of you are studying business? Raise your hand if you're studying business. Raise it high. Raise it high. Okay, mostly business. Moi University, can you hear us? Moi University. Nod your head if you can hear. Yeah. At Moi University, people are studying business. Raise your hand. Okay. How many studying techniques?
Sorry, Heath, we didn't hear you.
Okay, how many in each group are interested in starting a business someday? Raise your hand if you're interested in starting a business.
Raise your hands.
Okay, almost everyone. So I think we should have lots of questions. Who's got a question? Okay, go ahead and stay.
Well, my name is. But I have interest so much in IT, and I would like to ask who say that just to maybe check maybe out. You know that there are such kind of people, for example, what may understand that she was able to even exhibit at the US. What a thing to have.
Okay, very good.
Sorry, I can't hear anything on that side. They have to move really close to the microphone.
Okay, can we mute?
Because there's a lot of feedbacks.
Okay, you'll ask your question again. Can you hear now, Irimo?
I can.
Okay.
Like I said before, my interest is in IT. I take a course in business information technology.
Yes.
I wanted to know from Wairimu. We know that there are so many people, quite a number of maybe persons within Kenya, for example, who have such kind of interest and ideas. What just made you stand out among the rest, the extent that you are perhaps able even to showcase whatever you have on the international platform? How has it been, and what does it take to be there? Thank you.
Okay. So what does it take? I'll be honest. Taking a degree in software engineering is not easy. Taking a degree in any specialty in engineering is not easy. But resilience got me to the end of it. Now, what made me, I'm not going to say what made me stand out. I'm going to say what made me start the business. Because I think everybody has got, and I believe at the heart of everybody's dream to start a business lies the need to solve a problem in the world. Now, I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to be able to study my degree overseas. I was in Australia for a long time. I studied at the University of Sydney, and then I stayed and worked there. But while I was working there, I always wanted to come back and give back. So for me, starting the business, my business structure was based around setting up something that could provide employment to the youth, local people within technology, but while at the same time that would be able to tap into the economies in the developed markets like UK, because our clients will be coming from all over. They're not just going to be Kenyan clients, there'll be clients from UK and there'll be clients from America. So I wanted to solve a problem for UK and America by allowing them to tap into talented individuals in a market where these individuals did not have a job. So I was looking to connect those two. And that's that's where I was coming from in terms of setting up my business. I in terms of applying for the GES, I just applied and I was selected. I believe that I have been lucky enough to stand out within my career as not just a woman in engineering, but an African woman in engineering. But I think for me, and what I could say to the girls in the room, is I've never really looked at myself as an African woman or a woman when I'm thinking about my capabilities as to what I could do. So the sky is the limit, really. Just do what you have a passion in. Oh, yeah, that's it. Sorry, a little bit.
All right, great. Thanks for that very good answer. Okay, any more questions? Got one right here. Go ahead and stand up. We have the mic.
Hello, I'm Duncan from Technical University of Kenya. I take BBIT, Bachelor of Business Information Technology. So I'm interested to know what challenges are you facing right now in that business you're undertaking as an engineer. We like you to share that experience and the challenges and how you are countering the challenges you are experiencing right away. Engineer, that is the question.
Okay, let's actually have each of you answer that question. I know you're each facing challenges, so.
Yes, I think it's a good idea to have that answered and by everybody, because the question is actually generic. The question is more of what challenges are we facing as a panel of entrepreneurs. I'll go first and I'll say perhaps my biggest challenge at this point is cash flow, and it's basically getting clients to give us an opportunity to build something for them, as well as getting them to pay on time. And I'll move on to Lucy quickly.
I want to quickly. My answer can take a long while, but the long and the short of it is, I think my company is trying to provide a solution to a problem that the people with the problem might not even be aware they have.
Yeah.
That will be fundamental.
Lucy,
But having said that,
Lucy, elaborate on that a little bit. What do you mean that you're trying to solve a problem that they may not even know they have?
okay, on average, let's take the case of the banana, for example. When a farmer plants a banana and it does not yield what he expected, he just says, well, it's not yielding. He's not really bothered about why not, unless it's a doo-doo that you can see. Now I'm talking about viruses, which are invisible. So the average farmer is like, he'll buy bananas from somebody else. But if he buys those same bananas from somebody else, say another distributor, for example, let's not name names. These people have not checked whether or not their tissue culture has got viruses. The cycle continues. The researchers, on the other hand, know what the problem is, but the information that they have does not get down to the end user, who's the farmer. That's what I'm talking about. Am I clear enough?
Yeah, yes, yes.
Cool.
The challenges in
In summary.
Well, first of all, there are always challenges. What I'm learning about business is that if I don't wake up every day to have to sort something out, then there's something wrong with my business. But I agree cash flow is an issue. I agree that we're dealing with, especially since I'm also in agriculture, we're having to do a lot of education to farmers. They need to understand the soil and realize that some of the issues they're having is coming from the soil. So therefore, they need to invest in the soil. Another challenge I'm having is capacity. Finding the right people to work with in Rwanda has been a nightmare. young graduates coming out of university are very unrealistic about the realities of the world, and I think there's a lot of pressure on young companies like Wanda, where people or graduates expecting us to offer them the same thing Safaricom is offering. I cannot pay you or train you as well as Safaricom, but I can give you a lot better experience and exposure than Safaricom. And getting young people to appreciate the kind of exposure and experience a startup can give them has been a big challenge for me.
Can I add on to mine?
Yes, please.
In the same vein, what I have found is the graduates that we are having, no offense intended, but people come on board expecting, I don't know, they're full of theory. The practicals that you guys have are zero, which means that you're coming back to class, you're employed, and this time it's difficult. The quality that I would expect that you guys have, you have to push yourselves a little bit more to get the hands-on experience before you get out. How do I say this politely? You're not cooked.
Okay, can I add one more challenge? Heath, can I add one more challenge? And it's a little bit of a personal one.
Yes, please.
I think, and I do not want to exclude the boys, because you matter too, and I believe that we need both the girls and the boys. But I think there is a question that was sitting in there in the person who asked me about my challenges before, and I think it's important to say this. I do experience, have I come across people who doubt my capability as a woman? Yes. Have I come across people who doubt my capability based on my race? Yes, I have. I have faced those challenges, but that shouldn't stop you from going ahead. Whatever you choose to do, if you as a guy, and I hate to use this example, choose to do something that's align yourself with a career that's looked at as a very female-like career, like maybe become a nurse or something, you will face similar challenges. And I think, to be honest, just have it in your mind that it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter how you operate, as long as you have the passion for it.
Thank you very much. We've got one more question here from the embassy.
Hi, panelists. My name is Ezekiel Okwach, a lecturer at the Technical University of Kenya. You've mentioned the challenges, but I've not heard you tell us what you have done to overcome it. For example, when you talk about cash flow challenges, what have you done or what are you doing to sort it out? Secondly, as coming up entrepreneurs, are you willing to take in some of our students on internship now that you've said capacity is a challenge?
I can start with that. What I'm trying to do with cash flow is beg my family to help me. I'm talking to some different banks. Now that we have some revenue stream, we're trying to see if the banks can support us. We're here in the Silicon Valley, and we are talking to anybody who will give us 5 minutes to listen to our pitches and try and look at how can we get working capital to bridge those cash flow issues. One of the interesting things that I'm learning here is that a lot of investors here are looking at being innovative in how they finance businesses. So there was a company here, and I believe they're also in Nairobi. They've got offices in Nairobi called Kiva. Kiva is now looking at how they can begin to use crowdfunding to help businesses like ours, all of ours, to access capital at zero interest. So they're looking at creative ways of doing this. So it's also sort of challenging me in how do I present a business case to maybe local investors. that could help me bridge cash flow. In terms of capacity, I am still working with young people. What we're trying to do is, he asked if I could hire more young people, right?
Intern. He talked about internship.
Internship. My team is currently 20. The average age of my team is 24, so I'm the eldest in the team. We currently do not have much space for interns. As much as interns, you would think that they're not paid anything, you actually do spend money on interns in terms of facilitating them to do whatever work you've given them. I also think it's important to give them some level of travel allowance because it costs money to come to and from work. So it's important to facilitate them to a certain extent. As we continue to grow, I am looking for more people. What I do like about young people is that if we get the attitude correct, I love the energy that young people bring. I love the creativity and innovation that they bring to the business. So once we sort of get the attitude correct and we get them to understand that it is a business, it's not a favor anybody's doing the other, I think young people are great.
Okay. I think in terms of challenges, in terms of cash flow, I think Marion has answered it, but let me be honest. An entrepreneur's journey is a journey on a thin budget. There is really, at the beginning, that you just, some of this pain you just have to wear. Now, what we've done is we've aligned ourselves with one or two financial institutions that can fund us once we start, that can do contract funding. Now, contract funding is a kind of funding where you go to the bank once you have a client who's giving you, say, a contract for 100,000 shillings, then the bank can lend you 100,000 shillings, and when the contract gets paid, you can pay that. You can pay the bank back. So that helps a little bit with cash flow. Now, in terms of taking in interns, yes, I'm quite keen to get interns in. However, once we have some projects coming through, so we are currently still in the process of selling. So I'm not sure if, I think the best way to go about it, if you're interested to come in as an intern when we're ready, and we will take you through an interview process and then shortlist maybe a few people who we can start with. I think the best way is to just ask Heath for my contact details, and you can pop in, send me your resume, and then we can take it from there.
Let me just say that this experience has been very encouraging for me. I was getting very, very tired. I have 10 staff members. I have not managed to pay them for Lord knows how many months. My co-director and I have not paid ourselves since Lord knows when. And I am tired of feeling like a beggar. But today, having listened to the owner of Airbnb, he said how he almost slept in the car. No, he slept in the car. Did. I don't know for how long. Every door that he knocked was no, no, no. And I was like, that guy sounds like me. But today he's worth over $24 billion. I was like, you know what? I think I'm on the right path. It gave me hope, because I've been going to the banks and they go like, virus who? Like, what? Nobody will talk to me because they don't know what I'm doing. They don't particularly care. Like I said, I think some of these ventures, much as we mean well, they don't make much sense to a lot of people. So it has been really an eye-opener, and I think I got that extra energy to wake up and just try, keep on trying. Like he said, the minute they housed somebody and the person paid money, which enabled them to pay their rent, they realize they're on the right path. So right now I have a small order no cash flow yet, but I think we'll get there. I'm sure the average farmer wants a good seed because a good seed translates to a good product. I must be on the right path.
Bravo. Thank you very much. Let's go to Moy University. I understand we have a question from the audience there. We have a little bit of feedback. So once you ask your question, we'll mute it, and we may have to reach out to you now. Go ahead, Moy University.
Can you hear us?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
You can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Maybe I can start as a person here is that what are part of the challenges in terms of IT startup? Because we realize IT is the mother and the father of Silicon Valley. Because we realize most of our panelists are based in agriculture and one in terms of IT. Now, maybe we can ask.
Sorry,
Challenges?
I can't hear you now. So you have to start again.
Okay, are you getting me now?
Yeah?
So I'm asking about the ICT startup companies.
Yeah.
I'd like to know what are the challenges because we realize the Silicon Valley is the mother and father of ICT.
Sorry, go back. I don't know what's happening.
Silicon Valley is the mother of ICT.
Yeah.
Yes. So what are the challenges in ICT startups, especially in Africa?
Was the question what are the challenges in ICT startups?
Valley being the mother of ICT.
Here in Silicon Valley. I don't know whether I can sum all of them up. So, some of them are, some of them we've done some reading on, but some of them are just generic in that they're not unique to any business. I think what you find out, and there's nothing unique between Silicon Valley and the Sahara Silicon, as they're calling Africa now, is that you have 100 ideas, 100 app ideas, but only 2-3 make it, and only 2-3 are talked about. So for every Facebook that we have, for every Airbnb, for every Uber, for every Spotify, we have another 15 ideas that didn't make it. Now, what can I say in terms of giving this back to the students? Because we're relying on the youth. We're actually relying on these young people to come up with some of these bright ideas. Some of these bright ideas came out of dormitories, of university dormitories. What I can say is, if you've got an idea and you think there's something called failing fast forward, it's a Silicon Valley principle. It's called build the bare minimum of that app or of that solution you need to build, take it to the market and see how it does. And if it doesn't scale, or if whatever you get back from the customer should be enough feedback for you to continue to change that product to suit what the customer wants. Start with the assumption you only know 30% of what the customer wants, and the rest you're going to have to learn along the way. So they've experienced the same pain as we have. HP was started in a garage, so was Apple. Steve Jobs was kicked out of Apple and then he went back. So we're going through the same thing. I think we face the same challenges.
If I could add a little bit to that, I don't work in ICT, nor do I live or work here in the Silicon Valley, but if I could reflect on some of the things some of them were sharing, is that as they try to scale beyond the US and begin to enter the different markets, there's a lot of assumptions they make that they can simply copy paste what they're doing in other markets. So some of the things I heard them saying is how they want to maybe take smaller bites or smaller steps into some of these other markets so that they can learn and adapt their products to suit those markets. So they'd made a lot of assumptions when they started expanding.
Okay, great, thank you. So just a message to Moy, we're having so much feedback with the mic. If there are additional questions, I think we can chat them, right? So if you can chat on the Google Hangout with our control here, we can read them out on this side.
Okay.
We're going to try it. Go ahead, we'll try it.
My name is Edwin Tegoli, student of political science.
Okay.
My name is Edwin Tegoli, student of political science.
Yes.
And my concern is, I have come across young people who have business ideas, but they find that the ideas are put on the line, first because of the bureaucratic nature of starting up a business, and secondly, the environment around. Perhaps we may find that it is not conducive for the productivity of a business idea. And therefore, this spells doom to the future and vision of the idea that someone might be having. Now, as young people who are the future of the business industry, they need to get tangible evidence that in turbulent situations, they can come out victorious and make their ideas work. And this can happen when we have practical examples on the ground. That is, the successful business persons coming to the ground and motivating these young people that you might have a business idea. It might not start so well, but it will end very well. As successful business persons, what can be done to motivate these young people who are the future of every single country to not shy away from sharing their business ideas and bring up their skills and put their effort and concentration on that business idea? Particularly, I like how Apple started. I'm so inspired by it, and I know that is so many others who are seated around here. Perhaps you can share more on that. Thank you.
One thing, first and foremost, I still consider myself young. I like to define success by the fact that my business has not collapsed at the end of every day. I still have a lot of challenges in my business, but the fact that at the end of the day I haven't closed the door, then I have succeeded. So survival is success point in business. Talking to young Kenyans and looking at my journey, it's taken me 5 years to get to where I am. And in many respects, I haven't gone very far because the truth is our ecosystem in Kenya is not very developed. Like you said, there's a lot of bureaucracies. Like you said, there are so many challenges that we have to face. And that is just the reality of the context that we live in and work in. If you compare that to the Silicon Valley, these guys have access to capital, access to mentors, access to working space. So it's very, very, very different ecosystem out here. What I can say is, if you have a passion, if you have a drive, start with whatever small bit or small resource you can have. Sometimes I feel that we have a vision and we want to achieve that vision in 2 minutes. You can't. If you have 5,000 shillings, you show what you can do with 5,000 shillings. And then what will happen is you'll get more support. But if you try and do something that costs 10 million shillings and you only have 5,000, people are going to look at you like, you're not a very good business person. So my advice is start with what you have, even if it's very little, even if it doesn't look and sound the way you'd want it to. So you start with those first steps, and persistence and perseverance usually pays off.
Um, I think I just speak to the part where you said that young people feel feel I don't know the right word to use. I don't think there's an English word such as unempowered to start businesses because of bureaucracy and sometimes things like corruption. Now I'll speak to that. When you look at us, it's not that we don't face these challenges every day. We do. Are we able to overcome them? Sometimes we are, sometimes we're not. The only difference is that we try, and you have to. You have to get out of your comfort space and just comfort zone and just go out and try. Now you need to think of yourself in a bigger sphere. Think of yourself as not a person who is going to be impacted by some of these things, but as a person who can be a catalyst for change, for a better future. It's going to take young people like you who believe in a better country to change some of the things that we may have failed in our generation. That's it.
I think the question was about the environment not being conducive. I'll tell you a little story about me, if I may. I went underground for a little while because I got so broke. I was embarrassed. Some of my friends would ask me, we go out, we do this and that, and I'd go like, hell no. I'm not about to announce my problems to people. I'm telling you this to encourage you and to tell you that you should not fear to dream. I dare you to dream your wildest dreams. And if you're dreaming, believing in the right thing and believing that you're going to do good, somehow things fall in place. I called my friends over a couple of months back, a few of them, and I took them around my lab, and everybody was just quiet. It was like, wow. Then one of them just started laughing, and she was like, you used to tell us one day you'll have liquid nitrogen tanks, and we'd look at you like we thought you were losing it. I mean, why would you have a liquid nitrogen tank in your house, for God's sake? And they were like, wow. My lab is the only commercial laboratory in the East and Central African region doing the kind of work that we are doing. I'm saying this because I think I should be upfront and tell you how hard it has been, how I'd see somebody across a road and disappear into a shop. Just so that they don't say, wow, she got so poor. But you know what? God is there.
Yeah.
Things work out.
Yes.
Don't know if that's any help.
That's great. Thank you so much. I think we have time for one more question. We'll go to our audience here in the embassy. We have one final question that someone would like to ask. Right here. Okay, great.
My name is Wilma from Technical University of Kenya. I take Bachelor of Science in Accountancy. My question goes mostly to Lucy. Lucy, you talked about graduates being maybe undercooked or half-baked. What do you think should be done? All of us are through the 844 system. My brother, my sister is behind me. She will go through the 844 system, the same system that you, Lucy, went through. So I want to ask you, what do you think should be done? Our lecturers are here. What do you think our students should do what do you think the country should do, or what do you think even the people around us should do, or people like you should do, so that we can be fully baked? Thank you.
Good question. I just told you that you should not fear to dream. I dared you to dream. That is good, but just don't make the dreams your life, in the sense that sometimes you might not be able to be in a position to fight a whole war, but you can fight for the battle for the day. I cannot even begin to imagine one person standing up and changing the system. But amongst us in this group, there is one person who has noticed the gap between the theory of the students and the hands-on, albeit in the engineering department. He's called Gearbox. And he's out to train and empower the engineers to have those hands-on practicals that I'm talking about. That is one field. That's an entrepreneur. He dared. Yeah? It's not a whole system is changing, but he found a gap that needs wanting and is doing something about it. And possibly, so can you. In the event that you can't quite do that, attitude matters. As I sit here right now before you, I am not ashamed to tell you that every day I am ready to learn. I learn everything. I learn a different thing, not just one thing every day. I learn so many things because I have an open mind. I'm not afraid to say what I don't know. Attitude. You have the right attitude, and you will learn what has not been taught to you. As I said, I'm still learning. Lord knows until how long. But attitude. Be ready to learn. I had somebody who came to the lab one day and said, I have a master's degree in molecular biology, Lord knows what. I listened to her and I was like, okay, no problem. I need you to do some extractions and we need to run some gels. Then she looked at me like, what? Alone? I was like, well, you came in with an attitude, you found somebody who has a diploma, and you decided you wouldn't talk to them because you have a what? You have a master's. That's a very, very high degree. But the diploma person is the one who eventually taught this person, because I just told her straight out, your attitude has to change. Because if it doesn't, this person cannot work with you. And what I need done is work. I'm a commercial lab, not a research lab where you can do business as usual. It's that simple.
Okay, anybody else on our panel want to take a quick answer to that question about how to best prepare for entrepreneurship?
No. Maybe what I can add to that is a lot of the times what I've found is people are afraid to get their hands dirty.
Exactly.
When I left my job to become an entrepreneur, I used to have to wake up at 4 in the morning to carry 50 kg sacks from my father's veranda to the gate because the transporter was coming to take the sacks to one of my clients. And, I could have sat there and said, well, that's not my job. I'm not one to, pull sacks and lift this. And it was actually really difficult. I realized how weak I was. But, you have to be ready to do what it takes. And, I saw that big vision. When they shared earlier about some of the entrepreneurs that we've met here at the Silicon Valley and hearing their stories, you go through that period of doing the messy and dirty parts before you can sit there and sign checks and go to the golf course and do all these fancy things we feel a CEO or an entrepreneur should be doing. So, being ready to get your hands dirty. And also, one of the things I found is that I am better able to manage my team now because I have done their jobs. I have been the messenger, I have been the cleaner, I have been the accountant, I have been all those roles. So now I can manage those people because I understand what they need to do. And I can also guide and coach them and mentor them in their respective roles. So, don't underestimate the power of getting your hands dirty, if I can put it that way.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I think we're out of time. I think we could probably go on, but I understand that some of these students have to get back to their classes. They're skipping school today, they told me.
Uh-oh.
And I know it's very late in California, so I want to give a big thank you to Wairimu and to Lucy and to Marion. Can we give them a round of applause, please? Yeah. Thank you to our friends at Moi University. Thanks for joining us and for your great questions. And thanks again to our audience here at the U.S. Embassy from Technical University of Kenya. Thank you very much, and I guess we'll sign off.
Thank you.